Welcome back. Let's now talk about some stocks. We have Prakash Diwan joining us first up on the show. Prakash, hi, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. First, a word on Bajaj Finance. The numbers came during closing bell yesterday and we saw a big surge. The stock's risen quite a bit all through this month. But given the robust numbers, do you think it's good for more?
Good morning, Anuj. So, Bajaj Finance is a business that has always been very promising. I don't think we've ever had doubts about that. And the internals of this particular earnings also reflect the same. In fact, there's a lot of assurance from the management that things could continue. There are lots of optionalities that are at play. But this is a stock that you buy on bad days or in a phase where, if the market corrects. Given the weightage of this stock in most portfolios, particularly institutional investments, it always gives you that opportunity. I mean, from a 50 to 100 to a 64, the journey has been pretty rapid. So you have to wait for that. Otherwise, I would believe most of it is priced in. The growth going forward is something which you don't need to kind of pay so steeply for. But if you get this on dips, in some kind of a pullback or something, then it's a different ballgame altogether. But I think the numbers will probably make it steady at these levels for the time being. There won't be any impulse to book out and look at other things. And generally also, I think consumption and the kind of technology play that they have started leveraging on, a lot of levers which they could probably benefit from. So I would have a hold of a sorts and probably buy only at lower levels, at sub 6,000 or probably closer to 58, 5,700.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Maruti, Prakash? Because in the conference call, although on one hand the management did talk about record high order backlog of 350,000 units, they also spoke about how their core small car business is seeing some weakness. So, it's kind of mixed. How would you read into it and your thoughts on the stock?
Good morning, Sonia. So, it's a mixed bag, actually. Yeah, so what the numbers tell you is that there's a lot of promise that you could build in, given the fact that there are, loads of backlogs of orders, which they could continue getting to execute. But their bread and butter business, which is the Class A, Class B segments, overall haven't been growing. And when you have a chip shortage, you would rather put it into the premium cars and start selling those. And their recent launch, which is I think a repeat of the experiment they had with the Baleno and the Glanza, with the Toyota, product portfolio, is something that could get interesting because it will eventually lead to a launch of a hybrid product, which I think is a great segment to be in for Maruti. If they can have that benefit from Toyota, it would look at. So all those optionalities or all these triggers are all in the future. There's nothing which is currently available for you to ride on. So I think the stock is priced in this part of the growth, and then everything remains very positive. But then the execution is what you need to very, very closely watch. So I would not kind of jump at it just because of this optimism, because there's a lot of hope that's riding in, rather than numbers that tell you that things are very great as of now. So there's lots of levers. Keep on tracking those levers, and that will give you an opportunity to build it to at the right time.
No, absolutely, completely well-rounded view. Prakash, hi, good morning. Tata Motors, how did you look at the numbers and what does it mean for the stock?
Good morning, Prashant. So Tata Motors is, there are larger pieces that they are chasing. This whole being debt-free, the whole fact that JLR is something which continues to be a thorn in the flesh, because somewhere or the other, some geography lets them down, and so all the good news that you see from other pockets gets kind of neutralized. What's working, I think, for them is the revival of the commercial vehicle segment, which we normally don't associate Tata Motors with because it's a mix of many things. But in that sum of parts, I think the market will like that they're marching ahead on the EV side, and they still don't have contenders. I mean, none of the M&Ms and Marutis have started challenging their position there. So that is something where they could march ahead much better. And the interesting part is that the supply shortage that we saw from the chip side is something which everybody is talking about easing out, but it hasn't translated into production numbers. So we will have to look at that. So if those numbers start looking up, the production numbers, then you'll have the sales numbers coming up. So my sense is, again, this is a stock that's kind of built too much on optimism. You would have to look at it only at lower levels. Currently, I think all the good news is priced in, though the market might like these numbers for sure.
Okay, a lot of the good news is priced in. Brokerages are mostly positive on Tata Motors despite that 5,000 crore loss from on the consolidated basis. So that is the most ironic thing. Of course, the expectations are that things will improve, especially in the passenger vehicle, commercial vehicle business. Things have been looking good. CLSA has raised their target price to 494. Macquarie has an outperform with a target price of 505. So most brokerages are quite positive.